Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. I hope that today has been a good day for you. I want to start by saying thanks to John for your prayers. Thanks just for your heart for putting people in community and for starting this. Um, kind of new to making videos and posting them, so we'll see how this goes. But I read something today that just kind of resonated with me, and so I thought I would share, and maybe it'll speak some kind of truth to you as well. It was a letter that I read, just kind of came across it on the internet, and it was written actually before I was born. It was written, 26 years ago, and it was a father who was writing to his son. And this guy was a poet and wrote pretty eloquently, so I'm not going to be able to do it the same way, but I'll kind of like summarize what he said. Um, the son had written to the dad and just kind of expressed some upset about feeling childish in some ways, and so this poet was responding to that, and um, he wrote a letter to this son saying that we see childishness as inadequacies and dependencies and loneliness in our spirit, but that really that childishness is where our real spirit lives. He talked about how when we grow up, kind of when we get around 7 or 8 years old, we start to build up this armor around us, kind of this like secondary self. And when you meet people, that's what you see, that kind of self-created exterior. And you have to look behind that to see the child in people. And because we've built that armor up around us, he explained how that person within us is undeveloped. It's not participated in life, and it's the real thing about us. It's the sense of ourselves, but it's not really come into contact with the world around us to even know how to handle things that come our way. And so in the letter, this guy went on to explain how life takes you to somewhere new, and all of a sudden this secondary self that you've built up around you is not prepared for where you're at. And so that real self inside you gets exposed, and that's where you come alive. And that's where, in the midst of suffering, in the midst of just new things that you face, that you grow and that you learn. And in those weeks where you don't feel kind of that struggle of your inner self against life, the weeks where you don't feel new challenges or growing are weeks that you start to lose touch with yourself. And kind of at the end of this long letter, the guy wrapped it up by saying that the only thing that really counts is how much heart you invest. And the respect that we have for people is based on the degree of feeling in life that they carry. And I don't know where this guy stood spiritually. I don't know what he believed, but as I read this letter, there were a couple things that I took away from it, just kind of thoughts that I had about it, and so I thought I'd share. One thing that first came was just a reminder to share our hearts with others, and I feel like this is part of that. This e-church is really kind of opening up and sharing thoughts and prayers and feelings inside ourselves to others, kind of that inner self that we try to keep tucked away from a lot of other people, from a lot of things, because we're afraid of getting hurt, or we're afraid of just not being prepared to face what's in front of us. Another thought that I had was just kind of asking God to take us to new places, to take us to those places where we get a little shaken up, where we don't have that outer self that's been built up to be prepared, where God can really deal with who we are inside, and change us there, and get past the fronts that we put up. And another reminder I had was just to look for that inner child in others. I work with kids all day, every day. I love it. I mean, it's great. But I see the beginnings of kids kind of building up this exterior. The the 6, 7, 8-year-olds that I work with, I could kind of, have moments of just seeing their pure childish ways. Um, and then you start to see where they start to cover that up, and where they start to try to get ready for life, the way they think they should by building up these walls. And I think that in lots of ways, God's calling us to go back to the spirit of a child. Peyton told me once that the imagination of a child holds more truth, he thought, than so many other things. So this is just an encouragement, I guess, and a prayer that God would take you to places where who you are inside and whose spirit inside of you really come to the surface, and where you're able to impact people because they see the real you, and they're influenced and touched by the feeling and the life that's carried through the spirit in you. I'm looking forward to, connecting with you all, even though we're all spread far apart, learning from you and just helping carry each other through the weeks. So I hope that the rest of your week goes well. Bye.